T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Good.
You ready for do more in the future? Trap Talk podcasts?
Yes.
Man.
Only Trap Talk. Exclusive.
Yes.
Exclusive. Oh.
So stop calling us.
Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, gotta love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up.
Woo-hoo! Oh man, we're doing this right. Oh shit. You are now tapped into the coolest reptile podcast in the world. I'm your boy MJ, who just took a major dab. Yeah. What is good, everybody? Happy Monday. How's everybody doing? How was your weekend? Probably not as sick as mine. Don't be mad because you didn't go to Arlington. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I am so excited to see the early birds up and jumping. Got a lot of people excited for tonight's episode. Who would have thought I would have brought JP to a new breeder on the block series? I did. Fuck, we have so much to talk about from him, you know? He's very, even though he's been around, he's new to this shit. And he has seen so much, has gone through so much. So we're going to have a great, great episode tonight. And this is actually his third time tapping in. So can't wait. I love my man JP. We'll talk to him in just a second. But you guys know what the deal is for the freshest and bestest rodents delivered to your doorstep. coldbloodedcafe.com on that Missouri feed. The best rodent feed you can actually put inside rodent. Fight me about it. You cannot disagree. If you bred rodents and you've got your rat on Missouri feed, you know exactly where I'm coming from. But anyways, Cold Blooded Cafe, check them out. Big orders going out every week. They do not play around, man. They are the number one frozen rodent company in the game. So go to their website, $30 flat rate shipping. Check them out. Shout out to Desiree, shout out to Steven, shout out to the whole Cold Blooded Cafe team doing big things. Sim container, if you got eggs, put them inside of a sim box. You can thank me later, man. I'm telling you right now. The box is built for perfect humidity. I mean, it's less steps, less things to worry about when you're using sim container. Shout out to John, shout out to Alex. And they also have an amazing monitor program going on, which all my monitors are on the sim container program. So shout out to Alex, shout out to John for the mentorship and the sponsorship. Fucking big time homies right there. Also, shout out to Steven and Ashley, Focus Cube Habitats, Flex in Texas. Just left Texas. I want to go back. I mean, sort of. I mean, if my collection was in Texas, I'd be stoked. But it just is so far. And there's no mountains. And it's very flat. But all the best keepers, as far as numbers-wise, is in Texas, for sure. I'm going to give it to you guys right then and there. So anyways, guys, make sure you guys go to Focus Cube Habitats. Check out the PVC built enclosures that they got going on. Leading the industry, I feel like. I have a lot of big things in works with Steven and Ashley. So I really feel like you guys should go check them out if you have not yet. If you have a Focus Cube Habitats, drop a comment. Let me know how you like it because I love all mine and I have a lot more coming. So shout out to Steven, shout out to Ashley, and then shout out to the big dog. Jesse leading the #1 stainless steel rack in the business. Rodents, reptiles. If you really look around, the best of the best fuck with Freedom Breeder, man. It is what it is. You can't really deny it. And good thing about that, they don't lose value. There's a reason for everything. Why do the pros use Freedom Breeder? Because it's the best. And you got to love that metal. Steve, chill, bro. You got to love that metal shelving. You know what I mean? Can't wait to get mine. It's going to be sick. I can't wait to see this guy again, man. I feel like we're like in a different generation now, but we're still brothers. But anyways, my boy, Miguel Garcia, always evolving pythons, always inspiring anyone that comes across his path. And I'm definitely an example of that. I can tell you right now, the huge passion behind me going to shows, linking up with my Patreon members, linking up with my friends, linking up anyone who wants to fuck with me is because that's what Miguel did. I hate to say did, but motherfucker, you don't go to shows no more. I hate to say it. I want to see you at shows, but I feel like I'm like the new Miguel at shows now. I'm just kidding. Hey, listen, go check him out. Miguel Garcia, always evolving pythons, major fucking ball python projects going on. This guy right here, I'm telling you right now, is creating his own pass, creating his own branch on the gigantic ball python tree. But I'm telling you, he's doing his own thing. And he has people like Justin on his back, ready to just buy shit whenever he has it. I'm telling you, man, that's who Miguel be selling his snakes to. Justin. Hella goals. But thank you, Miguel, for sponsoring the trap. Thank you, Tina. Thank you, Jesse, Ace, Aubrey. You guys are all amazing. Shout out to the Garcia family, the whole AEP family. Love you guys. And shout out to my boy Alan, Amazing Basins. If you're into arboreals out there, if you want to learn more about the basins and see why they're like, I'm telling you right now, the Ferrari of reptiles right here. The Ferrari of snakes is what you're looking at. Amazing Basins. My boy's working with them. He has bred them before. Things are looking good for him this year. On top of all his basins that he's passionate about working about, he's starting to work with ball pythons again, which is very exciting. Because if you know anything about my man Alan, he's super low key, but he has been in this game as far as working with snakes for a while, man. And he just, he's back in it. So we're gonna have our moment with Alan. Don't even trip. But guys, please, for the time being, go check him out on Instagram. And he also has an amazing Patreon page. Because if any of you guys know about the basins, they're not easy to get, especially from a reputable breeder, like somebody legit, This guy right here, I'm telling you right now, as close as you can get to Ed Marino stock is going to come from this guy currently as far as breeding goes. So that's all I got to say. And if you know your basins, you know who Ed Marino is. I would hope so. Or otherwise, I wouldn't say you know basins. But Alan, thank you so much for your sponsorship. It means everything. And yeah, go fuck with my man Alan, Amazing Basins. And then Blake Stewart, man, here to change the game. The whole entire reptile industry, I feel like this guy's on a mission to do big things. But yeah, Blake Stewart from Stewart Design. Please go check him out. This guy only works with select clients, so please don't go bother him. He just wants to sponsor the trap, and we do have something lined up in the near future. But guys, if you're out there very passionate about this, especially if you're doing this full time and you feel like you either hit a wall or maybe you're growing and you just want to grow more, maybe you just want to get ahead of the game, then maybe go look into Stewart Design, man. Telling you though, come correct. This shit is not cheap. It is fucking for the real deal. Like, this is for your life. So if you're really a lifer with this reptile branding and all that stuff, man, do it, man. Go check him out. Shout out to Blake. Appreciate you, my man. Also, he works with some really sick locality-specific reticulated pythons, which is awesome because he has a room that's like a jungle gym, like ropes everywhere, things to climb, and he lets his super dwarfs just chill in it, and I think it's awesome. If you guys follow him on Instagram, you guys know what I'm talking about. He posts that, but check him out on Instagram too, Blake Stewart. And then, yeah, check out his company as well. Appreciate you, Blake. Thank you for your sponsorship. Means a lot. And then, what a time this weekend. Reptile Super Show. Cannot wait for the next one. Shout out to Rami. Appreciate you throwing the coolest, sickest reptile show on the West Coast. And then hats off to Bob Ashley and Brian Potter, man. Not sure what we hit U.S. ARC-wise, but I know it was major. Adeline Robinson, shout out to her, but she had a piece of art that she did during the show that went over 7K. I forget the final numbers because I was heavily off the veggies and whatnot, so I was like, woo. So I don't know the exact digits. I just remember the bidding got up to 7,500. So big things, man. If you went to Arlington, Texas, shout out to you, man. That was a great show. And if I kicked it with you at the U.S. ARC auction, or if I got you in, shout out to you. Because, man, they closed that. Dude, U.S. ARC got so packed, like 20 minutes before it even started, they weren't letting anyone in. Shit felt like a VIP concert. It was sick as fuck. But I was able to get out there and get some people in, and we packed that shit to the brim. That shit was fun. So shout out to anyone out there making their way to the shows, making their way to a Reptile Super Show, making their way to NARBCs, because I can tell you right now, I linked with a handful of people who had just started in this, and just by them going to the shows, you have no idea how it elevated their marketing game. They have connected with people that made them get ideas to want to do, stuff a lot quicker. I mean, the only shortcut you could really take in this industry, I feel like, without actually it being a bad thing for your animals, is by going to shows, meeting people versus just having relationships over the phone. You know what I mean? Like this is the start, right? But I can tell you right now, what connected me and JP is when I actually ran into him face to face. And then that's when it brought everything together. So either way, do what you can to make it out to shows. You will not regret it. I can tell you that right now. And then shout to anyone trying to make it to their shows. I know COVID is still a thing, unfortunately, but safety first and teamwork. The teamwork is meeting up at shows and going to US ARC and having a good time. Yeah. Thank you so much to Rami, Bob Ashley, Brian Potter, 3 sickest motherfuckers in the reptile industry when it comes to shows, for sure. And then guys, shout out to Phil, man. Phil Goss is he's a G, man. I'm telling you right now, US ARC is something you should support. I mean, I know sometimes it kind of comes off like forceful, but at the end of the day, there's nobody else representing the animals the way Phil Goss is. That's it. The US ARC is all we got. Not even the damn fish people have somebody representing them. So we're trying to get the fish people on our side. I mean, you guys already know the word of what's been going on with this whitelist and all this shit. And, you just can't get lax on it, And so I know it's really hard for you to maybe be at home and think, well, what can I do? The best thing you can do personally is go down to the link, go read on US ARC, see how they update us on everything. They do show numbers. They show their financial statements because they have to. It's the law. They're a damn nonprofit. They have to report every single number that they get. So go check them out, man. Enough is enough already. If you don't support US ARC, you're a fucking piece of shit. That's just how I feel, 110%. So shout out to everyone who supports US ARC. You guys are my hot. If you guys want to know exactly what's going on in my world as far as projects and whatnot, hit me up on Instagram, mjexoticscartal with an A, not an E. And then you can also follow the podcast's Instagram page as well, where I update everybody on my vlogs and podcasts. So Trap Talk with MJ podcast on Instagram. Shout out to all my Twitch viewers. And then, shout out to every live super chat. If you guys have a question for JP and you want to really get it across and ask him, throw a super chat, man. Any super chat, no matter if it's $1, $5, $20, you motherfuckers throw some fat super chats out there. I'm just saying, no matter what the amount is, it all goes to US ARC, all goes to a good cause. So thank you. I appreciate you guys, man. But other than that, if you guys want to give me a donation, you can send it to PayPal at exoticscartal with an A, not an E. And then most importantly, shout out to all my Patreon members. The Trap family is growing by the day. We're about to hit 90 Patreon members. I have not rules, but I did promise myself I would cap the Patreon family at 100, just because less is more. I feel like right now we're tight. We're tight knit. You feel me? And I want to say thank you to all my Patreon members. I ran into so many of my Patreon members in Texas. I didn't know I had so many Texas Patreon members. That's what's up. But if you out there want to be a part of a fucking community of people who are basically sharing ideas off each other, I mean, you never know what other species you might want to get into, because guess what? It's not just ball pythons going on in our Discords. Shit, our channel's thick. So you guys know, my Patreon members who are up in the live chats right now knows how sick the Discord goes down. All together, we're trying to win together. We're trying to eat together, and we will eat together. It's just a matter of time. So I will say thank you to all my Patreon members out there. Thank you for all the inspiration. Thank you to everyone who came up to me at the show. That right there is what drives me to do what I do. And so, yeah, man, if you out there would like to join the Trap Talk Patreon family, go down to the link below. Only Patreon family that gets you a shirt, that you can get a shirt with an actual pocket tee. No other Patreon is doing pocket tees. I guarantee someone's going to do it after this. So I'm telling you right now, be original. Come fuck with us. Come be original and get yourself a pocket tee. Call it a day. All right, guys, what is good with the early birds up in the building? I got to say hi to some people. I got my homie JP waiting. JP don't like to wait. I'm just kidding. Yeah, he does. All right, here we go. Wise guys, reptiles, what is good? Thanks for tapping in. I had to clear the pot. Black Smoke Reptiles, what is good? Thanks for... Hannah Hartsfield, Hannah Banana, was at fucking Arlington, went to the US ARC. She had a front row seat. She was this big time chilling with her homegirl. What a good time, Hannah. Thank you so much for tapping in and linking up with the Trap crew. That was an amazing time. This is my girl right here. Check out my girl Hannah on Instagram. She ain't got to... We got to get you a reptile name soon. We got to talk about that. My boy Matt, Evolution Exotics, heavy in the chondros, very player with the ball pythons. He has directions. I can tell you that right now. So shout out to my boy Matt. Go give him a follow right now. Evolution Exotics. He's a day one Trap Talk Patreon family member, like made type shit. Go give him a follow right now. Heathen. What up, Heathen? I'm sorry. You know, when it comes to names like that, I can't help but to like say it multiple times. Heathen. I think I like that name. Heathen. What's good? Thanks for tapping in. Kurt's Creatures. What is good, homie? Kurt, I'm not gonna lie, bro. It was not easy to swindle you inside the trap. I'm sorry, inside the US Arc auction, but I'm glad you did. I mean, I'm glad I got you and your business partner in because it looks like you had a great time. You got to talk to Justin Kabelka, and apparently some crazy deal went down. But go check out my man Kurt's Creatures. This was dropping stupid cheese on ball pythons right now. And I don't want to give out too much, but you should go check it out yourself. Kurt's Creatures. Thank you so much. Deviant Glass right here. Trap Talk Patreon member all day. By the way, Kurt, big time Trap Talk Patreon member all day. The homie Big Mike in the building. 1776 Exotics. Where we go? 1776 Exotics. Patreon family member all day. Jay Hendo. Patreon family member all day. The homie Big Dom 702 Serpents. Las Vegas in the building. What is good? Scale, Fins, and Feathers. By the way, both Trap Talk Patreon fan members. Eric's Morph Factory. What is good? Genomic Lab. What is good, homie? Haven't seen you in a minute. What's good? Wiz Constrictor. Day one, homie. All day, every day. By the way, both Patreon members right here. The homie Sean Sound Serpents. What is good, bro? I got to get your shirt. Don't even trip. I got it coming. The homie Jacob. What up, Jacob? Sybil Serpents in the building. It's right here is Trap Talk Management. What is good, bro? Pacific Rim Serpent. Chantel. What is good? Trap Talk Patreon member all day. Ryan, high as balls. Trap Talk Patreon member all day. Let's see. Montana. Damn, French? No? Mike's? Okay, Mike's. What's up, man? Montana Mike's Reptile. Sinful Serpents. What is good? Oh, they got the Martin General in the building. All right, I'm going to end it with the homegirl Aurora Exotics because Aurora is very player and she's heavily a trapper. Thank you so much for tapping in. All right, guys, let's get this show on the road because there's so much to talk about. And if you're tapping in on your Valentine's Day, you're a real one. But it's going to go down right now. I got my boy JP coming in from Canada. He's been around maybe a little low key than he has maybe the first couple years. Because if you guys know, JP came in here heavy. And when I mean heavy, content after content, posting stuff. This guy did it right. And, unfortunately, fucking Instagram pulled some BS and took his Instagram account down. So I'm going to pop that up in just a minute because I want everybody here to go back and follow JP if you're not following JP. But he's not even sweating it because JP's about to go get 100K followers just again like it's nothing. And here he is, JP Reptiles.
What's going on, man? Can you hear me?
We meet again. How are you, sir?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, we're good. All right.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. It's been a wild last 3 weeks, but we're getting through it.
Papa JP. I could call you Papa JP now.
Oh God, you're right.
How's dad life, bro?
It was challenging and then it got good, relaxing, and now it's getting challenging again because she's at the age now where she's starting to understand what things are and what certain phrases mean, and she likes to challenge us a lot. She likes to, if we tell her no on something. Was that?
I wonder where she gets the challenging from. I wonder where that comes from.
Oh, it's so funny because she knows what she's not supposed to do, but she'll look right at us, right in the eyeballs, and she'll, very slowly move her hand somewhere that she's not supposed to, and then she looks for her reactions. It's hilarious.
Oh my God. So, I mean, JP, kind of tell us real quick, since we're talking about the family and whatnot, and it's really new to the whole snake game, right? Because, you started, right? You didn't have a kid. And it was just kind of about you growing the business, and then you met a girl. Well, you've always had the girlfriend, right? How long were you with the girl before the reptiles, or did you meet her as you were building the reptiles?
No. So she was already on scene a couple of years before that. We've been together for almost 5 years now. Yeah. So perfect. So what I'm trying to say is I've had people that I've seen have good growth and have a kid, and then things just stop for them, and some of them even just like gave it up, So what's it been like for you? Like, have you had any kind of like moments where I'm like, oh shit, like how am I going to do this? Or has it been pretty good the most part? Not really. I mean, you touched on it. One of the things that you said was that when I first came into the business, I came in like really hard. I was doing YouTube videos every week. I was traveling. Right. I was doing all kinds of stuff.
Right.
And this was all at a time when I didn't have that many animals. Right. When I first started, I only started with like 20 or 30 animals.
Right.
And then as the collection grew, you know, the workload grew. And then when my daughter was born, it was just like a whole nother dimension of work to where, you know, as a solo act, it's really hard to keep up with the socials, the videos, the editing, cleaning the animals. Now I have 2,000 rats under my belt I got to take care of every week too. So it's just, and I'm a one man guy. So, you know, we had to put like the YouTube stuff, make certain cuts in certain areas in terms of the socials, just to have good use of my time and to still have enough time to spend with the family. And
Right.
I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job of balancing everything right now.
Good for you, man. I'm happy because, like I said, it's you know, I've talked to many people who have a full-time job, have kids, and they still sustain 50, 100 clutches. And that's, I mean, don't know how they do it, but I do know that they make it possible, especially if you really want it so bad. So the fact that you're, you know, staying afloat, you know, it's good to hear. You know?
I personally, I mean, if anybody is in the chat right now that has children, has a large collection, takes care of rodents, and works a full-time job, I have no idea how that's even remotely possible. I mean, I just,
Dude,
I don't.
Shout out to Chad Holker. You know who Holker Herps is?
Nope.
Shout out to Chad Holker, a good buddy of mine. But he has a daughter or something, but he has a full-time gig. And he, you know, breeds about, I think, 60 clutches. Like, so I mean, like, fuck, dude, like,
That's unbelievable. It's just like, you know, we were just talking about this the other day where I started, you know, considering possibly this year looking for help, just because it doesn't have to be like full-time help. It can just be like, you know, a couple days a week, come in, help clean some animals and stuff. But it does get overwhelming. Like it really does after a while, especially during hatching season. I mean, the babies, they like to piss and shit every day almost, right? It's like at least the adults, you got a week in between during the feedings. But when it comes to the hatchlings, it's just like, oh, I cleaned you yesterday. Look, another fat shit. Like it's just, it never stops.
So real quick, I'm glad you brought up hatchlings. How did 2021 season go overall for you? Like, let's kind of talk about that.
Oh man, 2021 was, right now I'm struggling in terms of clutch count. I have about 100 females I could potentially breed. It's just, you know, in the beginning, I was really pushed towards female, you know, and actually, if I don't want to say who, but I was given even quotes like one male will service a dozen females. So you only need 10 males for 100 snakes. So that really was the mentality that I kind of went into it with in the beginning, where I just poured all of my resources into the females and kind of ignored the males because I was also told that males can, you know, breed within 4 or 5 months. Well, I can tell you right now, out of the 16 males that I have on the roster, only one of them has bred before 6 months. So I feel like that's an exception, not the rule. And it's not as common as people think. So I really didn't position myself well enough to have enough males to handle all these girls. And that was one of the primary issues last year. Last year I only did 11 clutches when I could have done 20 or 30. I just don't have enough male power, and I don't want to push them. You know, I'm arguably, I kind of pushed my Pompey a little bit last year. I put him to like 5 or 6 girls and he stopped eating, and I had to pull him out of rotation in March because he lost like 100 grams. And at that point I was like, you know what, it's not worth it. He's extremely expensive. So I put him on the shelf, and it took him like 6 or 7 months to rebound. He actually lost about 350 grams over the course of 7 months until he started eating again. And then I got him up. He was originally 600, 700 grams after he lost his weight. Now he's like 1,400 today. So I told myself, never again would I ever push males. I'm not going to move them around. And so to go back to my point, last year was a record for me, not just in the industry, but from an income standpoint in any job I've ever had in my life. Last year was a record.
And you used to sell cars. Cars is a big business. So
yeah, I've done really well in cars.
Right. That's huge. I'm glad you.
The problem is, as a sales manager, every time the dealership does more business every year, they just find a way to be creative with your pay plans and scale you back on the percentages so that, you know, it equates to the same. So you're never really growing under most situations. But we had an amazing year last year. I've added like another 22 or 23 holdbacks that are just awesome animals. And this year, again, it's looking like, you know, am I going to do more clutches than 10? Yeah, probably. I might hit 20, maybe 25 if I'm lucky. Could I do twice as many? Yes, but I'm still having the same issue with males. So this year, 2022, is all about holding back every single male. I don't even care if it's a normal. If it's a normal male, it's staying in the rack. I need males. I'm going to be buying more males.
So hold on, JP, I don't want to cut you off, but you're saying that you didn't even have any male to throw? Like you literally ran out of males? Like you had not enough males, literally, is what you're saying?
The problem is one thing at least for my collection, what I'm learning is, let's say you have 20 males. Well, just because you have 20 males in my collection doesn't mean you're going to get 20 males to breed. You know, I've got males that, you know, the first 2 years they started breeding, they were amazing. And then for some reason last year, they didn't want to touch a single female. I have other males that breed great for a couple of months and then stop. And then your females are still building. So when you look at my male count, I would say less than half of them I can consistently rely upon to get the job done every single time. And it's been a real challenge because if you've got a project in mind and you start a female on that male, and then all of a sudden he decides he doesn't want to breed anymore, it's like now you got to go to plan B. You got to introduce another male. It may not necessarily be what you want. There's certain females that, you know, they didn't mesh well with some of the males I had. Like, for example, one of my plagues right now is I have so much spot nose in my collection on both females and males that there's a lot of females I can't even touch right now because the only males that I have that don't have spot nose they don't want to breed. So it's been a real issue with consistency on the male side. And it really just comes down to quantity. I mean, most guys I've talked to that have collections my size are running 20 upwards of 30 males. I've only got, like I said, well, I'll say 14 adults. 2 of them are not adults yet. And I would say out of the 14, only 5 or 6 of them I can really confidently rely on. And you can't run 5 or 6 consistent males to, you know, 70 or 80 females. You can't do it. It's not going to work.
So like, what do you, I mean, I'm just thinking, right? So I had 2 holdback females that were from 2020 that turned out to be males, and they're big, like shit. They're like 900 grams, right? So, and the reason why I figured out, you know, because like I sexed them once and I was confident with it, and then sure enough, they went off food, and I'm looking at them, I'm like, well, let me just double check again. Sure enough, the two that went off food that just normally hammer food like all the time had just shutting off. So I was like, fuck, and I checked, so they're both males. But now these powerful females turned out to be powerful males, okay? And I had other snakes that they could go to. So I'm thinking, you know, because rule of thumb, you know, people say rule of thumb, you know, you want to keep your male slim. You don't want to get them too big, you know, because they get lazy and all that shit. I beg to differ. I beg to differ because I'm telling you right now, these fucking snakes are big and they're breeding like monsters right now. And I feel like you're better off breeding a snake. I'm not saying go overfeed your fucking males, but a big male is more likely going to last a longer season than a little fucking skinny little slender male is what I'm thinking.
You know, I just recently had a conversation with Justin on this exact topic because I had reached out to him and I said, you know, Justin, because I don't know if you know, but a couple of months ago I went to visit Brian Barczyk, and
yeah, I remember that.
You know, we talked a lot about. It was great. It was great. He's such a good host.
He's awesome.
Like him. Yeah. And one of the things that because I asked him, I said, you know, I asked him for some pointers or some tips when it comes to rotating males and that kind of stuff. And one of the things he told me was that he doesn't like to get males larger than 1,000 grams. He'll actually withhold food and keep them slim and young. And it sounds great and all because, yeah, you know, younger studs perform better than older studs, right? It applies to our life as well, right?
Right.
But so I called Justin and I said, Justin, I understand that mentality, but here's my logic. And I wanted to get his opinion. I said, logically for me, will a smaller, thinner male potentially breed better? I would say maybe, but I can't see a scenario where that smaller, skinnier male is going to last as long as a larger, thicker, bigger male. And I asked, what do you think? And Justin told me the same thing. He agrees. And we kind of both settled on the idea that on the off season, you know, he does it and I've been doing it. My biggest male is my Desert Ghost Clown. He was 1,800 grams when I started breeding him this year. And he said, you know, on the off season, he just feeds and feeds and feeds and get them as big and strong as possible. And what that has led to in his collection is those particular males able to breed more females over a longer period of time before needing to stop, because they have the weight and they have the mass. So I've been doing the same thing, and I know Brian has a different opinion on it. And I think at the end of the day, it's people got to evaluate where they are in their own collections. And it's really hard to come up with like a general rule for everybody. I think everybody has different different things in their collection and different ways to approach things. And for me, I would say I'm more on the Justin side, where I feel like getting them nice and thick and fat for the off season leads to better potential. And I'm proving it with my Desert Ghost Clown right now. I literally, like, he's never missed a meal. He grew all the way up to 1,800 grams. He's huge. He's thick. He dwarfs some of my females that are producing follicles. And
hey, JP, time out real quick. We are not going to continue to spit more heat. I'm telling you right now, guys, that like ratio is so disrespectful. And don't ever disrespect my boy JP like that again with that kind of like to view ratio. Let's get the likes up. If you're just tapping in, it's cool. Maybe you forgot. No big deal. Especially if you're from Canada, guys. If you're first time tapping from Canada, people, trappers here, hit that like button. So do me a big favor for this fire ass episode that's just starting. Please, let's get the likes up right now so I don't have to interrupt this shit again. Thank you, JP. Let's continue.
Yeah, so I'm just going to use the two examples. So my Desert Ghost Clown was up to 1,800 grams when I started breeding him back in October. And he has been breeding every single week since October till now. He's still eating in between. He's still big. He's still strong. He's still consistent. He hasn't lost any weight. And he looks great. Well, if you compare that to my Pompeii last year I started breeding my Pompeii around 750 grams, and he did amazing. His first few locks were great. But after, I would say, 70 days, like it was like 2.5 months. He only lasted 2.5 months when he stopped eating and he started dropping weight, and he had to be pulled immediately for his own health. So I don't know. Brian has more experience than all of us. He's been breeding for what, 30 years? I'm sure I never want to discredit anything he says, because he's probably the godfather when it comes to knowledge. But at least for me, when what I'm noticing, my bigger, stronger males seem to last longer and are a little bit more consistent than my smaller ones.
Well, let me counter on that, because as much as you're saying, don't discredit Brian for anything, which you're not, you understand Brian's a pioneer in a lot of this shit. So a lot of things that works for him, he discovered, right? But at the end of the day, even Brian, as good as as dialed in as he is, it just because it works for him, it might not work for you. So let me explain something. Shout out to Justin Kabelka, but Justin Kabelka, on my very first episode, I remember telling him I had a female that laid for me in January, and then it was the next year, and we were in March, and I was like, hey, Justin, this female that laid for me last January, she's off food, but she hasn't ovulated or anything. Like, do you think she'll go? And he's like, well, if she hasn't ovulated or done anything from the time that she laid last year, she's not going to go. Like, just count that out as just like, wait till next year. And I was like, all right, cool, no worries. And honestly, at the end of the day, I took in consideration what he said. So I did stop pairing, but I did not stop looking at this animal, meaning I saw glowing, I saw thickness. And then next thing you know, I saw an ovulation, and she laid in June. So she ended up laying a clutch in June. So with that being said, Justin is so seasonal where he's at. He can control when he does things. I'm in Southern California. I'm on ambient heating. I'm off whatever the fuck it is outside. So it happens.
Must be nice.
Yeah, I love it. Trust me. It's great. But it happens when it happens. You know what I mean? So I was just really excited, because it's cool to see that somebody like Justin could even be wrong. Like, it doesn't, and not that he's like wrong, but he fucking washed his hands for that snake for this year, and it literally laid in June. So
I think a lot of people don't realize, because I'm in that same category. I didn't really realize just how much of an effect your environment can affect your collection and your breeding patterns. It's not a one size fits all. Like, if you're in a dry climate, like I am, like, it gets really dry in the winter, that can have an effect on your breeding output. Versus Justin, he's in a perfect spot. He's just on the southern part of Georgia, close to Florida. They get great humidity. They get pretty mild temperatures. I mean, it's a different environment.
I mean, they do get hit with a pretty good winter too, So at the
not
end of
like
the day,
us all.
Yeah, but still, at the end of the day, he controls his room at 80 degrees the entire time, no matter what the temperature is outside. So he controls.
But there's something about the barometer. The actual pressure in the air can be felt and sensed. It doesn't matter if you're indoors or outdoors, and it does have an effect on the breeding. Like you know, Brian said it great when I went to visit him. Put your males in when the storm is approaching, whether it's a snowstorm or a rainstorm, and it's
it
true.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Every time a storm is approaching, I put my males in. They are like fired up, ready to go, going all over the female. They don't even know what they're screwing. They got the tail wrapped around their head, and they think that they're, you know, in the cloaca. So it's hilarious.
Oh shit. So okay. With that being said, let me ask you this. 2021, obviously you hit a point where you couldn't breed as many females because of the males, and then you're kind of facing that in a way this year, but not really. Like, meaning you'll be able to get, like, how many more males are available now this year, do you feel like?
They're just like I said, I would say like 6 or 7 of them. I know, like, if I put it in with that female is getting locked. Right. You know, the others, you know, sometimes they want to, sometimes they don't. They're just a little inconsistent. I'm still really short. So what I ended up doing last year and near the end of the year is I started picking up a couple of low-end males, and I held back some low-end males as well. I held back like a black pastel clown. I couldn't even get $800 out of it, so I held on to it. I bought a red stripe clown. You know, they've come down drastically in price, and I'm trying the Justin Kabilka method. Now, this method may not work for a lot of people, and I've actually talked to a lot of breeders about this method, and a lot of people have said they haven't had good luck with it. But I'm going to try it. This is going to be my first year trying it, and depending on how well it goes will dictate how I approach my future breeding plan. So basically what Justin does is he says like when you're a large collector like Justin or like Ozzy or Mark Mandic, you have 30 or 40 or 50 males or 100 males. You've got racks and racks full of them, right? But you might only have, you know, 5, 6, or even in Justin's case, a dozen super key, super strong males that you just hatched out the year before that you want to roll out into as much stuff as possible. And obviously it doesn't make sense to run it to all your girls. So what Justin told me to do, what that he does is he cycles all like low end males or males that he's not necessarily interested in fathering a clutch through all the females at the start of the season, just to get them all locked. One lock on everybody to kind of get everything stimulated, just to get them in that breeding mode. And then once they've all had their first lock with all these lesser males, then he starts ultrasounding, keeping tabs. And as they start getting to a follicle size that makes sense, he'll drop in later the good male that he wants to father the clutch. Now, he told me 9 out of 10 times, the last male is the final lock, is the one that's going to father the clutch. There are situations.
I don't think that. No, that's not true. No, can't be true.
I'm just saying. I'm just regurgitating what was told to me.
I'm telling you right now, that's not true. I love my boy Justin, but that's not true. I could show you multiple scenarios of that last year where it's not true. It's not. It's
okay.
A case-by-case scenario.
Beyond the point, and that's why I'm going to try it out for the first time. I've started all of my females on. I still tried to keep the projects, you know, in line with each other in case it was that male. At least it still makes sense. But I've used some lower end males to kind of get things going. And I just recently started moving in my powerhouses at the end. Now, here's my thoughts. Even if you say Justin is wrong, okay, let's just say in my case, half of these females don't take on the last lock. They take on the bullshit, no good male at the start. Let's just say that happens. Right. Well, if I take my clutch count from 10 to 30, okay, I'm still 5 or 10 clutches ahead of where I would have been with the good males because I was able to stretch out that good male across more females on the same workload without exhausting him. So that's my mentality. I'm okay potentially sacrificing 5 or 6 clutches that I didn't get the male I want if it means I'm going to get an extra 10 with the male I do want. You get what I'm saying?
I could tell you what really helped for me, and you know, I kind of relate anything with like anything I see that happens with like my chondros or other pythons. I could relate to ball pythons. I feel like too. But have you ever tried just putting another male shed in with the female? Have you ever done that yet?
Oh yeah, I've tried everything. I've tried. The only thing I haven't tried was one guy suggested I put 2 males together in with a tub with a female and let them fight. I haven't done that, but I've done everything else. And you know, at the end of the day, like I have 3 or 4 males, like my Pompeii. I have a world's first mahogany. I have a world's first red stripe yellow belly clown male. You know, in a perfect world, I would love for these 3 or 4 males that I have to just run all the girls. It's not feasible. You'll exhaust them. They could end up dying as a result. It's not worth it. So, you know, this is gonna be my first year where I run the whole Jacob Bilkin method, where I try to filter out as many males as possible across as many females on the first lock, and then I start kind of honing in on the actual project I want later on. We'll see how it works out. I've heard the same thing you've said. Some people have told me that they have not had good luck with that.
And listen, the only reason why I got excited because there was the first 2 clown clutches of the year that I threw my fired leopard 100% het clown to, and I didn't get it. It was the other snake is one that I got. You know, he didn't father it, but you know, also it was his first time. Maybe he shot blanks because I had the 3 other clown clutches where he did hit it. You know what I mean? So I just remember, you know, I was trying to use him. You know, first few times he wasn't locking, and then after this, the other clown male started locking. I threw him in after, then he started locking, but I didn't get no leopard fire.
I also think it's a timing thing. I mean, you know, if you're running a lower end male to a girl all the way up to, like, let's say 30 millimeters, and then you put your best male in at 30 millimeters, chances are you're going to miss right on the good male. So I think it's timing. So my strategy right now, and I'm not saying that this is the correct strategy, I'm just trialing and error because I want to, until I can resolve the shortage of males, I need to make the best with what I have, and I need to get, you know, as many clutches as I can to progress my project. So what I've decided to do was kind of, okay, we'll get you started. If you're at 10 to 15 millimeters, we'll put a lock on you. And then the key is for me to introduce that good male that I want to father the clutch between 20 and 25 millimeters and let them finish from there. And I did it a little bit last year, and it did it. I didn't have any issues with the wrong father, but this year it's going to be on a larger scale, and we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah, you know, at the end of the day, this is why I love this shit. There's no expert, man. I'm telling you that you can't predict any of this shit, how it goes down. I mean, you could have somebody, you know, like there's people in the comments saying, oh, I do this. Like, oh, I use fluffer males and it all worked for them. But I'm telling you right now, that shit did not work for me. But it could be timing. Like I said, I mean, for the most part, maybe if you strategically know how to do it, it could come down to it. But let me ask you this. Your goal obviously is to have enough males. That's why you planning on holding back a shit ton of males. So you don't even have to play around with this. So this is just a temporary situation to get you by till you have enough males, right?
Correct. Yeah. 2022 is going to be focused around mostly hold back males and the sales, because right now my rule is about 30% of my profits to be reinvested, and all acquisitions for 2022, except for the one female I just bought, is going to be males. And I want to get my male count up to like 30. And if I have 30 decent males that I can run with, then next year is probably going to be my biggest breakout year if I've got enough male power to do it with.
So let me ask you this, JP, when it comes to, like, let's just say when it comes to picking out your males, what are you exactly looking for? Like the more genes, the better. I mean, does it really depend on the clutch? Like what exactly are you looking for in a holdback male?
Well, right now, anything without spot nose would be nice. I just have so much damn spot nose on my girls. I'm just like, oh, and all my best males have spot nose, so that's one. But cool. I don't know, like I've had this conversation with people too, where you know, when I used to have the mentality that, you know, every male has to be a 5 gene banger, like next level male. And I don't think that's the case. I think at the end of the day, there's so few of this available, not just in the United States or Canada, but globally. There's so many people that want to buy a 5 gene banger male, and there's so few available that in most cases, the best way to get those is to produce your own. And so if I have an idea of a male that I want and I've got the genes, some of the genes on a female, I'm okay with buying, for example, like I said, I just bought a red striped clown. I have a Pompeii, I have other stuff, like I have stuff with red stripe in it that has 4 genes, but I have just a single gene clown male because I have some females that already have the spot noses and the yellow bellies and the other stuff that I need, and I need to maybe try to make my own powerhouse. So this year my eyes are opened up a lot more outside of just the quote unquote powerhouses. I think it's okay to look for anything that either is a powerhouse or you can make a powerhouse with.
Respect. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, you're kind of known for coming into this game, coming into the hobby, spending a lot of money in your first year, right? So that amount that you invested, what were the other investments like the next year and the year after? Like, how did you keep throwing money in like before your clutches came, or like did you just do that initial big investment, sit on what you had, and then grow up from there? Like, what did you do?
Well, I would say so. Last year was my third season. This is gonna be my fourth. But last year was the first year that I ran profitable. Because my first 2 years, every dollar I made went back into upgrading my racks, getting my new facility set up, purchasing more animals, and that's okay. If you've got the income, a job, or you have the resources available to you where you can run at a deficit for a couple of years, or even, at that cusp of no profit, no loss, but no profit, then those first 2, 3, or 4 years of growth is your most critical because diversifying, gaining as many different genes, different genetics, different projects, I think is so important. So if anybody new is coming in and you want to follow my mentality, I would say don't even worry about the profits in the beginning. That'll come later. There's plenty of time in the future in the next 5 years for you to be profitable. The first few years is really about focusing on acquiring the best genetics you can, acquiring the best animals, getting your equipment set up, and reinvesting as much as possible. And I think that ultimately will lead to better success down the road than to just do like a quick, oh, I'll buy a few of these on year one, breed them, and try to make some money back and sell everything. You know what I mean? That's not long-term success.
You know, it's some, I can tell you right now, I think the biggest reason why somebody wants to breed so bad within their first year or two is because all the shit they follow on Instagram. They see stories, they see people, the biggest thing is like they'll see somebody that maybe got in around the same time as them, and then they'll lay a clutch, and then they'll get all inside their head wondering why aren't they going to have any clutches? But I mean, you got to understand that the first couple of years is such a buildup. It's like, I mean, if you could get a clutch in, good for you. But like, that shouldn't be a goal of yours to get a clutch in the first 2 years. Like, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like you're already eliminating longevity in your mindset. Like you come in here.
Yeah. And like, why some people, like I've known some people that had that mindset. And I said, if you come into this business from day one and your first goal is to buy adults and get breeding right away, nobody even knows who you are initially, right? That's why my first 18 months, I spent so much time on social media and making YouTube videos and traveling to every single show because I wanted to get myself out there and get my name out there so that when the time actually came where I had clutches, people already knew who I was and what I was about, and moving the animals was a bit easier. So I think it's very important to spend equally as much time into getting your name out there than it is to just breed, right?
Yeah. I mean, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you got to understand, like, really, like, do you want to be known for that one clutch you could get maybe in the first few years, or do you really want to be known like the third, fourth, or fifth year? You know what I mean? And I don't know. At the end of the day, everyone wants a taste of it, and the only side I could be like, all right, I don't, if you could somehow get adults and breed your second year, to see if you're maybe cut out for it. I mean, that's not a bad
That's
thing.
okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that, but like you shouldn't be in here beating yourself up if you're not getting a clutch your first or second year, because that's ridiculous. I feel like you need to like reevaluate shit and go back to what I always say. If you're really meant to be in this game, things will land in your lap. Like things will happen the way they should happen, but you can't sit here trying to force them. You know what I mean? Like you could buy fake followers all day, which we'll get in that in just a second. You could buy fake followers all day. Can you move that, please, JP? What is wrong with you? Move that.
Oh, sorry. It's a plant on the table.
Fucking plant. But listen, you can buy followers all day, but you can't buy the short. I mean, you can't really shortcut the process with these animals because it shows in your work. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense.
And another point to that is anybody listening is you have to be ready to pivot and change your mind or your projects, because I started my collection in very specific ways with specific goals at hand.
Right.
And all of the animals that I wanted to breed first, those projects, none of them went. I still, 4 years later, I'm waiting for some of these females. They're still under 1,000 grams. It's ridiculous. But some of the stuff that I bought as side projects ended up becoming my best eaters, and I'm working on that instead. So you have to be ready. You have to come in with a mindset and a plan, but you have to be ready to change the plan as time progresses, as you notice which animals are eating consistently and grow and which ones don't, and which projects you got to sideline and which ones you got to go full force on. You have to be ready to pivot and make changes to your plan.
Yeah, I mean, because here's the thing, man. People like the whole part of the learning curve is being in a position where you buy snakes, invest, and then just so happens the next year your plans change, your things change, and that's okay. But you got, God, fuck, Steve, stop falling. But you got to be smart about it. Like, if you're not happy with something and if you really want to go another direction, then get off your ass and fucking do something about it. Start moving. But if you just sit there and keep shit that you don't like and years go on, then, dude, you're going to have a hard time with that snake. You know what I mean? Just in general, you're not going to end up selling it the price you want to get it. I mean, you're better off getting, if something does not add up in your collection and you're not in this for a pet, then get it out of your collection. Move it. That's it.
Yep.
Simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now,
let me ask you this, JP, because, you know, obviously, I know you're in a point where people come and ask for your advice now. Obviously, they come to you to see how you're doing things. And obviously, that was once one of us. It's still us, you know, but like you, for instance, had no problem going to different people you followed and asking them their practices or seeing how they did things, right? Like, you weren't just somebody who went to just one person and just sat with them. You kind of did like a little bit of shopping, I guess you can say, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I always tell people, if you ask me for advice, I'm going to give you advice based on what I would implement, but I would encourage you to shop that advice against other advices too, so that you get different perspective, because everybody has a different perspective, right?
Right. Yeah. So let me ask you this though. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and you know, even with the success that I've had so far, everybody, and including myself, have to remember I'm still going into my 4th year. I'm still considered new, and I don't have all the right answers. So it's always good to, you know, check around with people that have been in the industry for 10 plus years. You know, they've seen it all. I'm still learning as I'm going.
And you've been wrong before. Like, legit, you've been wrong. Like, you've learned.
I was wrong. I was one of the people who believed that Stranger and Mahogany were the same gene. You know what I mean? I was one of those people. And
you also believed you were always evolving Pythons Canada too, which was fucking
exactly
ridiculous. Wow.
And I'm happy to say that I was wrong, and that's okay. And I it's just like, you know, we should be able to question the validity of things, because that's what leads people to dig deeper and to find these things out, right? If everybody just agreed with everybody all the time, then we wouldn't have this landscape where, okay, this gene is this gene is that, it's a lead like this, that. So I doubted it. I still bought it because I had a feeling that, you know, there was a 50-50 chance I was going to be wrong. So I was like, okay, I'll still buy it. Because if they turn out to be mahogany, at least I got a couple of really nice mahoganies in my collection. But I was one of those people, and I was proven wrong, and I'm happy to say that I was wrong, and I'm the first person to admit it. And I'm so happy that that test is done. So the point of it is not to make fun of me for that. It's just to realize that anybody and everybody can be wrong about something, and there's nothing wrong with being wrong. Would you agree?
Yeah, 110%. But I also want to shout out this, because, you know, you were somebody who, because how good your traction was going, as soon as you did fuck up, people thrived off of it. Like, they were so happy that you were wrong, and they did make a big deal out of nothing and almost wanted to cancel you over it. It was kind of ridiculous. I'll never forget it. It was a big thing, because you had bigger breeders step up and fucking be like, yo, what is this? You know what I mean? And it got ridiculous, but you powered through it, and here you are now. But I feel like this sense of people kind of ganging up and trying to like break people down, especially in a moment like this. So let's just talk about this now, because JP, I could tell JP, and listen, you guys know I am not a fan of people who buy followers. I'm a good believer. If I look at somebody's account and I just do the studying, I know who buys followers, and I'm confident with it. And I'm telling you right now, and I could be wrong, and you know, if I'm wrong, I don't give a fuck, but I'm telling you right now, I remember a while ago when I started discovering motherfuckers buying followers, I remember looking pretty good at JP's account. And the numbers to me added up. It really did. The amount of likes you were getting consistently to your following, and as it moved, your likes went up. I paid attention to it. So I personally don't think you bought any of your followers. But that being said, you fucking grinded your ass off. I saw the way you put out content hard, bro. Like, I took a lot of notes on how you put out shit. Like, and I talk about on my podcast, you've given a lot of people tips. You got a lot of people ideas on how you got your page started. And then boom, Instagram fucking takes it away. And I know that kind of fucked you up. I mean, you weren't too happy about that, were you?
I would be lying. It was a hard couple of weeks when it happened. Not necessarily just because of the following, but it was also because it just represented a time in my life that, most people don't realize the work that goes into growing an account. It's not as simple as you waking up, posting a picture, and that's it. That's not how it works.
Right.
You have to grind that platform, okay? And the first 18 months that I was on that platform, I have screenshots. I'll send them to you after the podcast. My screen time on my phone was 10 hours average per day. Okay. That you can laugh about it, you can make fun about it. I make fun of myself for it, but I wanted to take Instagram to a new level, and I grew quickly, and it was part of my business model, and I wanted to put all my effort into it. So it's a decision I made. And when you have something stripped away from you for no reason whatsoever, after investing this immense amount of time into, it's really, really disheartening. And it was rough. It was really rough to experience it. As you know, I got deactivated, and then I didn't panic the first time because I was like, at the end of the day, you got to remember there's 1.3 billion active accounts on Instagram on a daily basis.
Right.
Instagram lists 450 people that work at their building. That's how many employees they have between engineers, executive staff, all that stuff. So if you think about it, their moderation team is probably no more than 30 or 50 people. And for 30 or 50 people to monitor 1.3 billion accounts on a daily basis is obviously not possible. So they have algorithms, they have AI learning, they have all that stuff. It's all programmed, and I get it. That stuff can be a mistake sometimes. So I knew I was probably going to be okay. And after a few days, I received the link, because you have to be selected to get the link where you can appeal it. Otherwise, there's no way for you to contact Instagram. So I appealed the link. 4 days after my appeal, I got the account back with an email that stated, from a generic no reply address from Instagram, saying, "We're sorry, we took your account down. It was inconvenient, blah, blah, blah. You can have access to it again. It was a mistake." So I was like, okay, whatever. But where it really hurt was after they admitting that it was a mistake, and then 5 days later of being inactive, because I was scared to touch my Instagram account. I didn't want to touch anything. I wasn't responding to DMs. I wasn't posting anything. I wasn't doing nothing. A few days later, I put up my first stories, and I put up one reel 5 days after I received it back. 3 hours later, bam, deactivated again. And right then and there, I knew that was it. Because for me to get deactivated a second time, I just knew that I got lucky getting through to somebody the first time. I don't think I was going to get lucky again the second time. And I can tell.
But do you think it's an automatic, like it's something automatic in the algorithm or something that's blocking or shutting you down? Or what do you think it is?
I've come up with a couple of theories, but at the end of the day, they're just theories. And I really don't know. I do know that several people got locked down the same time I did. David Suarez lost his account. Actually, he just lost it a fourth time 2 nights ago. Fourth time.
Oh, 4 times, right.
That was his third account that he made. And then 2 days ago, it got shut down again. Echo Reptiles has been deactivated twice. He's on his third account. This chameleon page, highlighted chameleons, he just made a Facebook post today saying that he got locked out for no reason. Flawless Crested Geckos got locked down. Billy got locked down. I did. So I don't know if this is a concerted effort against animal keepers, because there is a lot of animal abuse pages on Instagram, and that can affect ad revenue for obviously Facebook. So I don't know if they're just lumping all of us in the same category, or if there is something specific. For me, if it was a legitimate deactivation, then they wouldn't have given my account back the first time. That's the way I look at it. So for me to get deactivated a second time means it was most likely the same bullshit algorithm that caused something.
You feel like the fact that your following was so big and you were making sales had to do with it?
No, so I never advertised sales on Instagram. I never posted prices. That was my rule when it comes to Instagram. But what I will say is, and this will go back.
Keep talking. I'm listening. Keep talking.
Yeah. So what I will say is, this is going to go back to the legitimacy of my account as well. Some people do. I've always questioned the legitimacy. And at the end of the day, you can look at people's analytics and you'll know right away real accounts from fake accounts. I've had several posts over the last 3 months reach millions of views. Actually, my record post was on October 15th. I posted 2 white snakes and I put a spooky song on it for Halloween. And I ended up getting about 8.5 million views with 350,000 likes on that reel. It was absolutely bonkers. That one specific reel got me 14,000 followers over the course of 2 weeks. That's how insane that one reel was, which is why I always tell people, you know, all it takes is one post to go viral. All it takes is one of those posts to get on the algorithm, and you're going to get a flood of following because it's getting pushed. Now, that's a good thing. Like the story I put out 3 days ago where I called out Chris Ward. I showed him one of the reels that I got 3 million views on. That actually was the lowest screenshot. That same day, I gained 1.2 million views on that reel. The other screenshot I had for the same post was 4.5. So the point that I'm trying to make is it's nice to get that kind of reach, but with more reach is more eyes. And the more eyes that you have on you, the more subjected you are to mass, dislikes or mass reports or whatever. If your average reel is 10,000 views and all of a sudden you get one that gets 3 million, then that's a huge change in your account's activity. Because if you get 10,000 views on a reel, you might get, 50 people report it saying they don't like it. And if you get that consistently every day, it's like, whatever, the algorithm is ignoring you, right? Because it's the same thing every day. Then all of a sudden you get one post that gets millions and you get 100,000 dislikes or reports on that reel. That's what flags the algorithm, because it's not what generally happens with your account. It's outside of the box and you get flagged immediately. And I think that's what happened, because the post right when I got deactivated was 2 days after one post. I put a post up where I showed my Pompeii breeding my Fire Gotham. And it didn't do well at first. It only got like 6,000 or 7,000 views the first day. And then all of a sudden I log in 2 days later and it's at 1.8 million. Yeah. And I was like, what the hell is happening? And it's so funny how—
Were you getting paid at all for your reels?
Sorry?
Were you getting paid at all for your reels?
No, it's not opened up in Canada yet. It's only in the US.
Wow. Damn.
Yes. So
Crazy.
I looked at the reel and I was like, oh shit, like in the last 2 days, it went up from 7,000 all the way up to 1.8 million. So it's obviously being shown everywhere. And, when you have a large jump in activity and a large jump in maybe people reporting you, it flags you. And that can happen a lot, all the time. It happens a lot, actually. And the chances of you reaching somebody on an appeal is so small that most of the time these accounts are lost forever. And it just sucks. It really sucks. So I don't know the real reason. I don't know if it was a targeted reason. I don't have the answers. I wish I did. All I know is I invested an immense amount of time into this platform, and I had it stripped away from me for nothing. And it was really disheartening.
And I'm just saying, the reason why I'm calling out that I knew it hit you some kind of way is because you did something out of character, which you normally don't do. You don't call people out, and you just—
I never do. Yeah,
you never do. So it's— so for me to see it, I will say, can I share my opinion on that if you don't mind? Definitely overdue. No, I mean, I listen. I've had my words with Chris Ward. And, I've talked to him today, and I settled my shit with him over the phone, like, just because I don't give a fuck. I'm going to talk to him about it either way, So at the end of the day, I'm not the only one who's had problems with them. Obviously, you've had problems with it before. And the thing is,
I got a lot of love, MJ. Like,
you got mad love. Here's the thing: you had people that stuck up for you, just like the first time. You had a lot of people that were excited that you actually spoke up. But you got a lot of people that just don't decide to speak up. You got to understand. We talked about this earlier too, JP. That this stuff like that happens to people who aren't unfortunate to keep going, and they get discouraged. They just don't want to be a part of the hobby after they get bullied like that, or when they see a fucking people that might look up to them, talk shit about them. I don't know, man. It's just very uncalled for, unfortunate. But for you to do that just really spoke a lot,
Yeah, and I had to do it because I don't want to beat a dead horse. At the end of the day, he is who he is, and he's always going to be that. He's been that way since I came into the business, not just with me, but you know, there's a lot of people out there that don't have very nice things to say about him. And I didn't realize the extent of the negativity towards him until I made that post where I called him out, because I got flooded with DMs with over the course of 24 hours. We're talking like 40 DMs of people praising me. And I even got phone calls from individuals I'm not going to name.
And you didn't expect that though, right? Like, were you kind of?
I wasn't expecting it. I thought people were going to look at me like, oh, he's being petty. He's calling out somebody who is petty. But people were glad to see, based on the history, because I took a lot of bullying the first year I was in the business.
You did.
And people were really respectful of the fact that I finally decided to stand up for myself and call somebody out, which is, why I did it. I was in a really rough place already because I had lost basically my entire life's work in ball pythons over the last 4 years for nothing. And for somebody to kick me down at my worst, I wasn't going to stand by and have it.
I mean, well, at the end of the day, I feel like you can only put up with so much. I feel like, and I don't know. I mean, like I said, that shit got personal with you two to a certain point, or somebody was bringing your mom into it, and now your mom doesn't want to be a part of this, which that fucking sucks, because your mom and you were excited about this in the beginning. From what I remember when we talked about on podcasts, your mom was like a huge partner with you on this. Like, you had snakes at her house at one point.
The real situation with that, and just people don't realize this, is my mom almost died a few years ago. She suffered a major aneurysm in her brain, and she had 2 aneurysms that, with a third one that was possible to explode. But the fact that she suffered the first one alerted them to the other one, and they were able to coil it about a year later. So she had brain bleed. She was in hospital for several weeks. She was unconscious at one point. She suffered weakness on her left side because of the brain damage that she suffered from the aneurysm. She's always been a very strong, successful, and independent woman, and she had to give up working. She had to give up her business. Everything that she's accomplished in life, she was no longer able to do because of the situation with her head. She's suffering a bit of memory loss right now, and it is what it is. And the ball python, so she was stuck at home, recovering from these aneurysms and a stroke. Just so you know, aneurysm leads to a stroke. So she had the stroke.
Right.
And so she was recovering from it. And then she started, she fell upon my YouTube channel, my Instagram. She started seeing what I was doing. She kind of got excited. And she just took a massive interest in what I was doing. And she wanted to be a part of it. She wanted to come to the shows. So it actually got her out of the house. We started traveling together, going to the shows. It brought us closer together. She would come over, help me, cut eggs. She still does that today to a certain extent. Cool. When I had to move my animals, she offered to take them in while I was buying a new house. So it really brought us together, and it helped her get past a part in her life where she almost lost her life. And during those years that I was getting attacked by who and his entourage, they unfortunately decided to take all their attacks to her as well. And what people don't realize is that she was following most people that we talked to. She was following them on her private Instagram account. She was reading all these messages. She was seeing everything. And these individuals, including Chris Ward, who took it upon themselves to attack this woman who really had nothing to do with me and my character. She was just a bystander that was enjoying this business to get her past a situation where she almost died. And they were attacking her, and it made her so upset to the point where she doesn't have much interest anymore. I don't think she's ever going to come to a show with me again. I don't think she's going to take an interest. And when everybody, at the end of the day, I will tell this to everybody watching this today. If you have a problem with me, I have thick skin. You can call me names. You can say whatever you want to me. You can lay it on to me. I don't care. It's not going to affect me or my business. But please leave my daughter, my partner, my mom, my family, and that not just with me, with everybody. If you have beef with somebody for whatever reason, whether it's jealousy or is a real beef, it doesn't matter. Leave their family out of it, because you don't know what those family members went through, right?
Well, listen, I can tell you right now, bro, people who get that personal have more issues than it seems. I can tell you right now, when they are not happy with enough just attacking you and they got to go further, that means they're going so beyond the line to break you that they don't want to see you succeed. So I can tell you right now, JP, I'm praying for your mom. I hope your mom, listen, I hope to God she shows up to a show one day. I hope that changes because her son is going to be doing big things in this hobby. So, I hope she hears this too, man. So, and if anyone bringing the moms, you're a piece of shit. You don't bring the mamas into this. Leave the mamas out. Nobody's here without our moms. That's just like, it's just so childish. But at the end of the day, listen, JP, what I want to ask you is, to anyone out there who's going through with what you've been through and they're more newer to this experience, what is your suggestion to them? Like, especially if they feel alone, because I can tell you right now, I've had situations where I've had friends not be the friends, and I'm lucky enough to have at least Miguel. Like, that's why I love Miguel. I've always had at least Miguel, but some people aren't as fortunate. So what do you have to suggest to anyone out there who feels like they're alone in this?
Well, and this is where people have differing opinions. Like people used to tell me in the beginning that I should have spoken up more. I should have defended myself more. Whereas for me, I knew where I was going. I had a goal, and I knew I had such a good support figure around the people that were around me in the industry. And shout out to the American shows. I mean, they've been some of the best experiences of my life. I mean, you guys put on the most insane shows.
And ARBC, Mrs. JP, I can't wait to see you at Tinley.
I will be there in Tinley. I promise you. I promise you.
And you know what? You're not. Guess what? You're gonna have if we go somewhere, you're gonna have a seat to sit in. You're not gonna be crammed in like some sardine. I'm gonna make sure you have a good seat, buddy, wherever we go. Okay.
Yeah. But what I will say is, you can adopt my mentality, or you can be more aggressive. My mentality is just get rid of the noise. Don't listen to it, because here's the thing, MJ. Bullies make a very fundamental mistake with everybody they bully, okay? And I'll tell you what that mistake is. Bullies always go after the new kids on the block, because the new kids on the block have no friends, have no credibility, have nothing, so they're easy targets, right? But here's what ends up happening, and this is what ends up causing more harm to the bullies than to the people they're bullying, is these people, like myself, end up going to shows, meeting people, making friendships, relationships, exchanging phone numbers, having freaking phone conversations, going out to dinners. And then all of a sudden they start producing clutches. The quality of their animals shines through. And then all of a sudden the customer database starts to grow. And then the entire entourage around those breeders starts to grow. And the bullies don't seem to understand that you continue to attack this kind of individual who continues to make relationships. All the people around you are going to start to question the validity of what you're saying when you're bullying the individual, because they're going to say, well, hang on a second, that's not the experience I've had with JP or anybody else. That's not. And then people start to distance themselves from the bullies, and then the bullies end up becoming bullied as a result. So it's a fundamental flaw that these people have. And I just would recommend anybody, if you ever come into this business or you go into any business and you're the subject of bullies, just stay the course, stay focused, build your relationships, and eventually, like what happened 2 days ago when I called out Chris Ward, where there was a massive support behind me and an uprising against the individual, because a lot of these people step back and say, hang on a second, how can a guy that gets 10 million views and 450,000 likes on one reel, how can that individual be buying followers? You know what I mean? That you just make yourself look stupid at that point. So that's my advice, is don't give in. Let them continue to do what they do, because they're going to make themselves look stupid.
Okay, so on the counter of things, okay, let's be honest. You didn't come in here, Mr. Cookie Cutter Breeder. I'm just ignoring I'm just doing my thing. There were some little, maneuvers you made that weren't really the most player moves. And I feel like those little things people capitalized. And like just as small as the always evolving Canada thing, people did not like that. I'll tell you, I'll never forget, because I didn't like that. I didn't like you because of that. And I can tell you right now, that stirred up a lot of people saying that, oh, who the fuck's this guy? And then that led to you just all of a sudden popping up at Tinley with all these, and you started making connections, which is smart, right? But what are some things you feel like people should be more aware about when being new into the hobby? Like, what are some things maybe you want to maybe give a little tip on? Maybe not some do's and don'ts, but I mean, I don't know. What's something different you feel like you could have done differently coming in the hobby, you feel like, in the beginning? I mean, because you're killing it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying, like, you busted through the mold a couple times. You know what I mean? And you put yourself in a little bit of maneuver, if that makes sense. But
the only thing that I would have changed coming into the business is I wouldn't have aligned myself with select individuals who I aligned with, because those individuals led to the issues that I had. And I think it's so important for people, if you're going to look to find a mentor, or you're going to look to find somebody that's going to coach you or take you under their wing or whatever you want to call it, I think it's very important for people to do more due diligence on the individual, make sure that their values and their views and their ethics align with yours, and to make sure that you guys will have a good relationship. Because if that derails early on, then it can cause a lot of issues. So I think it's just, and then the other thing is the people that you select to be your mentor, make sure they have true success behind them. You know, anybody can paint anything on a video or on an Instagram. You know, that's very easy to do. It's what goes on behind the scenes, you know, the financials. Are they successful? Are they profitable? Are they making the right decisions? Do they have the right following? Do they have the right mindset? All of these things should go into your decision making when you choose to align yourself with somebody. And I think the most important aspect of that is just to align yourself with the right person.
yeah, you know, and at the end of the day, you have to trust your gut feeling. The reason why I was so standoffish is because I just did not like my gut feeling with almost half, if not more than, people I ran into in this hobby. So many people were just so fucking just like coat hanger, like, I mean, what is it? Tailcoat riders or some shit. But everyone was sucking the next man's dick, and it wasn't authentic. And I was just like, didn't really stand for the politics side of things, especially in the beginning. But I feel like a lot of people, just like yourself, just doing their own thing. And I will say, JP, as much as, you know, you had people doubting you in the beginning, especially when you just started, and people wanted you to fucking be a one-hit wonder. They were hoping it. Dude, it's far from the truth, man. Like, you plowed through many, man. And I can tell you right now, it is unfortunate that you had to call somebody out, but good for you. I will say somebody had to. I'm over, honestly, my days. Even though my last podcast, I did fucking, it's been a while, but I did, you know, name drop somebody because it was just fucking, that was well overdue. But bro, some things should just not be slid under the rug. And so many people have no problem sliding things under the rug, not making a big deal out of it, when really, like, that shit just needs to stop after a while. Like, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like you did make a good example by standing up for yourself. More people need to do it.
Yeah, and it was the first time I've done it. It felt good, but at the same time, you know, the goal of that wasn't to, you know, kick a man down. It wasn't really about that. It was just to, you know, you talk a lot of crap, you spread a lot of nonsense. Well, guess what? I have proof. Now, what are you going to say? You know what I mean? Look at this. Right. What's your response to that? And his response after that was, well, they wouldn't shut down large accounts just for no reason. I said, okay, so what's your explanation to your best boy, Billy? You're friends with Billy. Are you telling him to his face that he was buying followers too? That's why he got locked down? No. So why is it just me? So your argument is only an argument for me, but it's not representing an argument for anybody else. And that's not a true argument. So I liked being in that moment where I was able to say, well, okay, well, you want to say something? Fine. Here's proof. Now what do you have to say? And his answer to it wasn't really a good answer. It really caught him in his tracks.
And I will say, I didn't want to do this, but I remember when I had my problem with Chris, I was so over this guy, like literally so over this guy, that before I talked to him, I hit up Billy, because I know Billy's close to this guy. And Billy put his hands up saying, dude, I know he's a mess. And really said all this stuff, how like, it is what it is, Billy. That's what you said. You said, fucking, I separate myself from this guy. But really, at the end, you don't. You still hang out with this guy. And I'm in a stance right now where if you are saying one thing and then doing the other, like, especially like, you know, like I'll tell you right now that the big thing I lost my mind on the last episode is like, what's everyone doing in America that you see is coming together for US ARC, right? JP, have you seen that's like what everyone?
It's amazing the support they're getting.
So check this out. As amazing as it sounds and how it seems, we have the biggest leading fucking reptile guy on Instagram with the biggest following. He's attracting the most non-reptile people to his page and has not shared one piece of information about US ARC and will not share any US ARC shit. Okay. So that right there goes against.
Oh, you're talking about Jay Brewer?
I don't want to see. I'd rather not talk about shit because I don't want to have shit come in my mouth. I said what I had to say about the guy and I'm over it, but I'm not, because we're talking about somebody who decides to kick it with someone who's a piece of shit. And if you kick it with shit, you are shit. I made a good example on that show. If you want to know my analogy on how I think about that, go watch the Ari Flagel show. I use Steven's Kush, beautiful fucking Yeezy, $500 Yeezy shoe, right? Looks gorgeous. But what happens when you smear it in shit? There it goes. I ain't going to wear that shoe ever again. And I just cannot stand why nobody will stick up. Like, why nobody would just be like, check. Like, so, there's just some people on a higher level in this industry that need to check other people instead of just saying, hey, man, you know, if that's your boy, then check your fucking boy. Some people need to check their fucking homies. And if you're not, then don't fucking come around me. Simple as that.
Yeah. So, I don't want to get in the habit of doing it, obviously, but in that moment, I felt like it was.
Listen, it's not. If it was a habit, you would already done it by now, and you haven't, JP. You did it once because it got too much, and you have many reasons. Like I said, well overdue for you to fucking call this dude out. I wanted to, but I more like wanted to fuck him up, so I went straight to him instead of doing any posts. And like I already told you, I'm so notorious of calling people out, it wouldn't have had the same effect. This guy had to hear how I felt over the phone, and you know damn well, Chris, how I fucking talked to you over the phone. I have no problem telling you into your face. I know we're cool, but still, hearing this shit don't make me feel good. It's not good for the hobby. It's fucked up. And just because, I don't know, just because you're boys with Billy don't mean shit. You're going to get called the fuck out. Stop being a piece of shit to good people. Straight up. But at the end of the day, man, I am so happy for your growth, JP, because, you know, you didn't even have the epic year that you wanted in 2021. It's only going to get better, bro. That's the thing. No matter how your year's going, JP, your next year's going to be better. And that's just the way you're setting things up.
Yeah. I mean, it's, you know, it's one of the comments I made when I lost my Instagram account was, you know, at the end of the day, they can censor us. These big tech companies, they can do all this stuff. They can shut down my account. At the end of the day, there's one thing they can't do, and they can't take my animals. I still have all my animals. I still have all my breeding projects. And the amount of love I've received, I mean, just coming on the Instagram today, you know, what's funny is Mark Mandic was the first person that physically phoned me when he found out that my Instagram was shut down. And he could tell I was visibly upset. And we had like a good hour-long conversation. He's been so freaking supportive.
And I'm sorry right now, but if I knew Mark Mandic did not fuck with me, I would get the fuck out of this hobby, because that guy right there has put so many people in Canada on. I'm telling you, anybody highly respected I brought on my channel from Canada has shown love to Mark Mandic. So for Mark Mandic to step up, dude, that's
he's just such a genuine person. And you know, to have him reach out and make sure that I was okay and make sure that everything was good, like it was just so nice of him to do that. And he was the first one to share it on his wall, and that was really nice. And from that point forward, he basically. There was a bunch of cool friends of mine and some guys, some smaller guys that were sharing my stuff. But when Mark Mandic came out as the first big timer to share that I had lost and go and follow his new page, he basically started the dominoes. He was the first domino to fall. And that's when everybody else started doing it. And when I came onto my phone today and I saw like so many tags on stories and stuff of like, go follow JP, that kind of stuff just lifts me up.
Justin did it twice. Justin did it. Boom and boom.
I know Justin did it. He was amazing, and just the love that I got was like wow. Because I never really truly. I've been so. I don't want to say secretive, but I've been kind of like lower key the last few months.
Bro. You've been low key. You've been hella low key, bro. You have.
Yeah, just because you know I just have so much on my plate, and it's so hard to do what I was doing in the beginning, but I'm still trying my best. But I've been low key, and I never really realized the amount of support I actually had. I knew I had support, but I didn't know it was that extensive. So I can tell you today, when I woke up, I felt really good, and I can really appreciate everybody.
You knew you were going to come on
this.
You knew you were going to cool. That's why you felt good.
Yeah, and I thank everybody in the chat who has reshared, and you know, who was followed my new account and support it. It's been amazing.
This is what happens when you follow your own path, JP, man. You're literally, like I said, you knew what you wanted. You did your homework from anyone you could do homework from, and that's what you need to do. There's nothing wrong with that. But everything that you're doing right now, man, that's self-made. So I give you the biggest props in the world for doing it. That's the hardest part. I can tell you right now, JP, is when you invest so much, no matter, like, regardless, when you put a lot of money into something, the waiting part is something that will weigh over your head at some point. But when it comes to the waiting part, on top of getting bullied and receiving this bullshit slack, it does not make waiting easier. It actually makes being in this really, really difficult. And like I said, some people don't like to stick around. They dip out. So, you know, we're in a place where we need more people. We can't be pushing them away, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, 100%. And like I said, I appreciate everybody. And I think just based on the amount of accounts that got shut down just over the last couple of weeks and the way Instagram is changing the way they operate, I've actually, I'm still in the appeals process. If I get my main account back, I'm still going to keep the second account. And I wish when I started my account, I had started two to anticipate this with 2 different emails. So as a strategy to anybody listening to this right now, don't think that this can't happen to you, because it can.
Oh, for sure. It's scary. No, for sure. 110% this could happen to you.
So everybody should go out there and make a second account using a different email address and start building. Just repost everything you do from your main onto that account and start building a second following. So if this happens to you, you have something to fall back on.
Right.
If social media is important, not everybody cares about social media, and that's okay. But if you are one of those people that genuinely cares about social media, I would start working on a backup.
All right. Well, listen, everyone right now, JP Reptiles CA. That's the new page, right? So just CA at the end now, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So let's kind of go through some of your most recent posts. Obviously, you got heat. Shit. Let's just see. Anything.
So I will say to everybody watching, if you don't mind, MJ, is a lot of the stuff I'm posting right now, for the exception of a couple of posts, are just recycled content, because I'm trying to build my wall again.
Okay.
And I have sat down at a table and I've made a decision that I'm going to put just the same amount of effort, maybe not as much, but I'm still going to put the effort into growing my account. So I have a very specific strategy on how I'm going to do that. And it's going to involve some recycling of content more often, or in between. So if anybody's watching this and you want to help support the new page, you might see a post come up more than once in the future. I would kindly ask that you still treat it as brand new. Like it, comment, give me the engagements, and ignore it, because I know you've seen it before. But there's a specific strategy that I know is going to work and is going to blow up the following.
Respect. I mean, listen, JP, you were probably one of the guys I saw blow up the quickest naturally, and it's just going to be a matter of time, I feel like. So regardless, you did.
Yeah, because the first 2 years I didn't know what I was doing. Now I know what to do, right?
Exactly. So let me ask you, man, let's talk about some of these banana combos here, because I feel like, with the level of morphs that you work with, dude, things have to get hard to ID, bro. Like, things have to get difficult to fucking ID after a while. And I want to know, like, what are you doing to ID these morphs? Like, what's helping you the most, you feel like?
So usually, unless it's something that's easily identifiable, I blast pictures of my snakes to everybody that I know, friends wise, most people, for opinions. And it's actually really interesting, because I didn't realize just how variable people's opinions are. But really but I ask Mark, I ask Justin, I ask Ozzy sometimes, I ask other friends. I've reached out to Jason Amos on some lavender stuff. I've reached out to other guys with the confusions. So a lot of people have I don't want to say a signature or an ID, but there's some guys out there that are really good with a certain project, because they made a lot of stuff that are really good to search. So I think, just like, medical scientists do when they come out with a new drug or a new whatever, they publish a study on it and then they put it out for peer review, and they want the peers to go ahead and replicate the study to see if they can come up with any discrepancies. So I think it's good practice for all breeders in the industry is make your friendships, get close to these people and share your stuff before advertising, just to see if people are feeling the same way you are, because more heads are better than just one, right? So that's what I implement, because it is very tough. Now, I'm in a situation where a lot of the animals I bought from Justin Kabilka, and a lot of the animals I bought were produced by a man who is effectively one of the only individuals in the world who has made some of these combos. So he's the only reliable person, and he gets flooded. So some of those combos are really hard to identify. And I think if you're a new person buying some of these top projects, multi-gene banger males and females, you just recognize that you're buying these animals from individuals who are probably one of only a handful of individuals who know what they're looking at. So you have to keep that resource open and that friendship with that person, because that person is going to be a major tool in helping you identify future stuff in that project. So that's just the general philosophy that I have, is I try to shop around all of my pictures on stuff that I'm not sure about before advertising it.
And then, I think I talked to you about this before, but I want to know what your strategy is now as far as like, market, pricing something. Like, how are you pricing things, based off the market, or like, because you do work with stuff that nobody has either. So like, how are you basically pricing your animals?
My mindset again is I'm still producing a lot of stuff that is not technically mine. I mean, if I make a Pompeii tomorrow, it's not my project. I've reproduced something from somebody else. One of the hardest things about a new breeder is finding your brand identity. It's very, very hard to become original, because there's at least one guy out there that's probably thought about what you thought, unless you're lucky and some new gene popped up in your collection and you're the only guy in the world with it, right? So it's really hard to be original. So at the very least, my mindset is, if I purchased a project or an animal from somebody who has invested a great deal amount of time into developing that project, then I want to respect that individual and make sure that my prices align with what that person is asking. I don't want to be higher. I can choose to undersell it, but I want to be respectful of everybody. If Justin sells a Pompeii for let's say 10K, it would be kind of a dick move if I would produce one tomorrow and sell it for $2,500, right? It's not a respectful way to approach it, in my opinion. I think at the end of the day, everybody has a right to price things however they want. I really try to be respectful with other people. Like, for example, Jeremy has done so much Desert Ghost Clown stuff with the hypos. I've produced some Desert Ghost Clown head hypo stuff this year, Desert Ghost double heads. So I reached out to him and I said, hey, Jeremy, I see you're pretty much the leader in this project right now. You're doing a lot of these different pricing. What are you looking at pricing? What is your mindset? And I kind of reach out. So that's how I've been approaching it so far. And I feel like if people are willing to pay the money that other people are asking for it, then there's no reason to lower the market artificially or increase it. There's no reason for me to come out and say, oh, well, the 5 that he had this year are sold. You're the only one left with one, so I should sell it for twice as much. No, I don't want to be an asshole the other way either, right? I want to make sure that everything is, in the same ballpark as what's out there.
It's funny you say that, man, and that's very important. But even in other species of projects like scrub pythons and stuff, like there's like, it's so much important, like on certain projects. And I feel like some people get their hands on certain snakes, breed it, and just do whatever the fuck they want with it, instead of sticking it with people who could progress the project further. You know what I mean? So it's funny that you say that. But let me ask you this. Oh my God, I had something I was going to say. I forgot. Damn. What were we just talking about right before this? What were we just talking about?
Pricing projects.
Oh, okay, perfect. So let me ask you this. How many times have somebody has approached you trying to buy one of your holdbacks and just offer you stupid money for it, and you took it?
None, because everybody knows you can't bully me into an offer. It's not possible. If that animal is an animal that I want for my future, there is no amount of money you can offer me to let me release it.
So let me ask you this. Like, if you have somebody very inspired or passionate about a project that you're producing, how are you handing down your projects to the next person? Or if you're even like, are you considerate of that? Like, are you like, even the ones that are for sale and that are high end, are you careful with who they go to? Or or how are you really strategically doing that?
I I don't personally feel like I'm in a position where I can comment on that just because I haven't produced enough of that
Right.
stuff yet. Like I only did 11 clutches last year, and I'm hoping this year I get to, double that, maybe possibly triple. We'll see how the season goes, but I'm not there yet where, I'm producing X amount of this, X amount of that. There's only one of these available, and it's a groundbreaking animal for the whole world. I'm not there yet. That's really guys like Ozzy and Justin's territory and that kind of stuff. And I'm not there yet.
And I think you're just saying you're not there yet because you haven't posted it. You haven't given anyone the opportunity yet. I guarantee if you put your animals out there, you would get some fucking stupid offers, but you're being very Will Morrows. I mean, respect to you. It's all good.
My nickname for Will is what is it? Royal Canadian never selling ball pythons or something like that.
Like you gotta understand this. I already know the stuff that Will shows is not even close to like the fucking Will is good at hiding shit. Let's just say that. And God forbid trying to buy anything from him. Like I said, I respect that guy's game heavily. Shout out to Will. He was just in the building earlier. So yeah, you have some heavy Canadian players in the building, man. You got Canada support, bro. I'm telling you, man, you're doing good.
Yeah, we'll see this year. This year, I should be like making some really, really insane stuff, and I'm really excited. But it's like a ladder. I'm climbing the ladder. I'm climbing it at a reasonable pace.
Right.
And we'll see where it all ends up in the future.
All right, wrap up question for you, JP, and we'll end this live. Where do you see yourself in 5 years with this? Based off, and obviously a lot of things could change and whatnot, but things go the right way, law-wise and COVID-wise, all sorts of shit. Your kid, everything goes right. Where would you like to be in 5 years with the ball pythons?
I mean, it's gonna sound stupid, and people will make fun of it, but
I want to hear.
I want to be a JKR. I want to be that one day. I may never reach it. That's a possibility, but
oh God, really?
I mean, in terms of like production and the quality of animals. I don't mean in terms of like him specifically.
I was gonna say first Miguel, now Justin. Like, what the fuck?
No. I'm talking about anything? Like.
I'm just kidding.
I'm talking about like development of, these groundbreaking projects. And one of the things that, I still have to prove over the next few years is the creative mindset. It's very easy to buy projects in the beginning and just slap them together and be like, oh yeah, I reproduced, a Pompeii. But it's like, it's the creative mind of what do I do with that snake in the future to make it even better? And that's really hard because there's so many morphs, there's so many combinations, there's so many different directions. And one thing that these guys who have been in the business for years and years have over guys like me is they have seen over a decade the interactions of genes with multiple other genes. So they already have that database in their mind of how they expect certain things to interact with certain genes. And then they can make an educated guess when they plan their pairings on what can do. Guys like me who are still learning and still trying to figure that out, a lot of it is just kind of like, throwing it to the wind and hope for the best. You do think about it, but you don't have that experience behind you to know that, this gene also does this to these specific color palettes, these specific pattern mutations. So, if I have this groundbreaking snake, I need to find this one gene out there that I can put to it. And we don't have that. So it's a long process, but I really hope that in the next 5 to 10 years that I am on that same wavelength where I'm creating these just absolutely mind-blowing combos, things we've never seen before. And we'll see. I'm going to keep staying the course, and we'll see where it goes.
JP wants you to think he's crazy. He wants you to call him stupid. Go ahead, test the guy. I dare you, dude. I believe in you, man. You're gonna do big things. You've already proven yourself to me, at least. Not that you need to prove your shit to anyone, but. Fucking JP, I got you, man. I believe in you, man. I've already told you would be on this episode. You'd be on this channel more than once. This is your third time on it, and very, very happy with your results with where you're at so far. But I just know it's the beginning, man. You're still fresh into this, bro.
Yeah, and this year we're looking at bringing some stuff in from Europe. The Europeans have some insane heat.
Okay, give us a little bit of what are you bringing in? Tell us like one or two things that you're bringing in.
Well, I can't say now because
Come on,
I'm,
JP.
well, I'm trying to get them, but I'm not being successful at getting certain genetics.
Like what? Like what is it? Like what are you trying to get? How about that? What are you shooting for?
So one thing that I'm like highly interested in right now is the Cosmo stuff out of Europe. And
dude, I will help you invest. I'm in. Help me get it. It looks like Timor's.
You know, it's just one of those things that I had an opportunity to get it a year and a half ago, and I didn't jump on it.
For like 30K, right? How much was it? Tell me how much it was.
It wasn't even about the money. It was about the only thing that was being offered was a pastel Cosmos het. And you know, I have enough pastel. It's just something, you know, one thing I do today is I don't want to invest large sums of money in something that I'm in a snake that when I breed it, I hope not to hit one of its genes. I don't mind doing that with a $2,000 or $3,000 snake, but if I'm going to drop 20 grand on a snake, I don't want to hope to not hit something. You know what I mean?
No, you want to hit it.
Exactly. So the Cosmo stuff is just, it looks absolutely phenomenal.
What's
not having much luck.
Can you remind me the guy's name again? I forget his name.
It's Ralph Sim.
Ralph Sim. I'm gonna pull up just so people could see this, just because I'm like fucking I'm telling you, it's been a while since any ball python has made me go this nuts. And this fucking goddamn morph is it for me, bro. Like I want to figure it out. I need to figure out how to get it.
Yeah, look at that. I mean, it's just insane.
God damn.
Imagine throwing mahogany, confusion, leopard into that stuff. I mean, it's just like that's a dark gene. It's got pattern.
You think it's just Cosmo Clown? That's it?
I'm not sure because they're pretty variable. I've seen some
het. Look, het clown.
Yeah, that's a het.
This is the visual. You can see right here the head. This is the visual. Fuck, bro. This thing is so hard. There's just so many opportunities with this thing. It's ridiculous. Like, look at this thing, bro.
One snake that I did just get after spending a year trying to get one, I finally found one, and it's an amazing quality. It was Desert Ghost Pied, so that's coming in.
That's huge.
Next month. So yeah, we're looking to Europe. The Europeans have a lot of really nice stuff, and it seems like they get a lot of like new genes pop up in their collections and stuff. So, you know, I'm keeping my eyes wide open in Europe. Of course, in the States, I mean, one of the things that blew me away for 2021 is the sheer quantity of people making amazing stuff. You know, when I first got in, it was like 5 people. Last year, it was like, you know, 100 people making world's first. It was insane. It was just the stuff that people are working with. And a lot of these individuals don't push their socials, so you don't necessarily get to see it first like some of the bigger guys. But then when you stumble upon it, you just realize how many people are playing in these insane combos, and it's really cool to see all that. So you got to keep your eyes.
You want to know what I saw at Arlington this weekend that made me like, holy shit? And of course, it was not for sale, and of course, it was a female, and of course, Miguel Garcia wanted it. Guess what it was?
What?
Lesser chocolate Desert Ghost Clown.
Did you post that? I think I saw it.
I did.
Somebody shared it.
I did on the stories. I did on my story. I didn't post it, but I put it on my stories. But dude, that thing was fucking sick. Oh man, chocolate! I'm telling you right now, chocolate is it. You have any chocolate stuff? You do, right?
I have lots of chocolate. It's going to be one of the.
You have the hypo chocolate double het DG Clown stuff, right? Or what is it?
No, I have 7 total females that are chocolate DGs, double het hypo clown.
Wow, I just hit my head. That hurt. Wow, bro, that shit was fucking. I saw you post them not too long ago.
Yeah, I've held back a lot of stuff. I've held back a lot of triple hets as well. I'm currently working on a Desert Ghost Clown to a Clown Pied because I want to start working towards that triple. And I'm going to be picking up an Exanthic Clown male this year to start working towards the triple Exanthic Clown Desert Ghost, as well as I bought a female from my boy Shelby Merchant's Morphs. He sold me a clown a couple of years ago that was 66% het Exanthic. And she is like already super silvery. Like all my clowns are dark brown or like this brown color, but she's very silvery. So I think she's going to prove Exanthic. So I got to get a male from him to prove that girl out as well.
Okay.
But based on what happened last year in the ball python industry, I can't imagine what's going to happen this year. I mean, this year is just like, it's almost discouraging because it's like you wake up every day and you're like, oh, wow, like I've done this, I've done that. It's so exciting. And then you open up your phone and you're like, oh, such and such post this. And I'm like, oh my God, these snakes are insane. right? So it's amazing. This industry is progressing at such a fast pace, and the combos that are coming out, not just from the top guys, but from everybody. Everybody has something crazy now, it seems like.
Okay, JP, you are well more advanced than I am with ball pythons, like as far as project wise. So respect to you. But I get hit up all the time from people who are not in the ball python game asking me if they should get into the ball python game. What would you say to that?
100%. 100%. But I'm also getting into the boa game because I'm starting to fall in love with boas. So
Boas are amazing. How about that? My first boa litter, knock on wood, 74 more days, I think.
Wow. Congratulations.
All right, JP, what amazing episode. I have these custom hot seat questions for you. So I know we did hot seat questions last time, but we're going to do them again, a little different, okay?
Sure.
You ready? You ready?
Yeah. Yep. Hit me.
Listen, it's Valentine's Day. I have a whole other event after this. So I do not have typical JP answers to wait on. I need these to be quick. I need these to be booming, and we could go enjoy our nights with our ladies, okay? You ready?
Absolutely.
All right, coming in hot for JP. To breed your first year or to not breed your first year?
Well, how am I supposed to answer that? I mean, depends what you have.
It doesn't. No matter what you have, would you breed your first year? Would you not breed your first year?
I would not breed my first year.
Frozen thawed or live?
Oh, live. Forget frozen thawed.
Mice or ASFs?
I will never feed a mouse to a snake ever again. They are dangerous. They eat them, and they're nasty.
Favorite hotspot temp?
92.
Favorite ambient temperature?
80.
Chondros or emeralds?
Neither.
What? You have to just pick one. Just please pick one.
Which one again?
Chondros or emerald tree boas?
Okay, let's go emeralds.
Favorite lizard?
Black dragon.
Yay imports or boo imports?
From the wild, no.
I mean,
From
period.
US, yes.
So no imports, basically, you're saying. So nothing from Indonesia is what you're saying. So no imports from where.
No, I'm talking ball python wise.
I'm talking about anything, period. I'm talking about any kind of import, period. Import, game, or no import.
I would say if you wanted to import, you would. I'm just messing with you. Yes, import.
I was already ready. I was already ready for it. Big flexor, no flexor. Don't lie.
I'm not a flexor at all. I mean, look at these little skinny arms.
Yeah, but your reels are big time flexing, I feel like. So you're wrong. I've asked you this. No, I didn't ask you this before. Steak or fish?
Steak.
Favorite cut of steak?
Ribeye.
Yay alcohol or boo alcohol? Wow. Favorite beverage with the steak?
Chocolate milk.
With the steak? You're fucking lying, bro. Stop fucking with me.
I don't know. Water. That's all I drink.
Water? That's it? You don't fucking. Okay, fine. Favorite dessert drink?
Dessert drink?
Yeah, I know you drink hot cocoa.
I don't know. Milkshake. Do you guys have that in the States?
Yeah. What kind of question is that? Do we have milkshakes?
I don't know. You guys, you make fun of me all the time for stuff that we eat. Poutine, this, that. Like, I don't know if you guys have milkshakes.
Oh West Coast rap or East Coast rap?
Where's Snoop from?
West,
right? Yeah, okay, so that's West.
Favorite Snoop Dogg song?
I'll have to get back to you on that one.
Dude, oh my God.
This is the worst hot seat, isn't it?
You could not say you're a Snoop Dogg fan and not know one Snoop Dogg song. That is fucking
No, because
insane.
I don't know the titles of the songs. I just know of the song. I know if I listen to one, I know right away.
Titles are in the lyrics. The titles are in the lyrics, literally. Sipping on gin and juice. All you had to say was gin and juice. That's all you had to say. Okay, we're gonna keep
gin and juice.
Okay, God damn it. Favorite coast to visit?
Coast?
To visit, yeah. Would you, if you could fly anywhere to visit in America, would it be the East Coast or West Coast?
Oh, West Coast, California, all the way.
Oh, respect. Little word association. First thing to come to mind. Substrate.
Not cocoa.
Egg box.
Egg box.
Egg box.
Walmart.
Stock shed.
Higher humidity.
Day 60.
Cut.
Instagram trolls.
Trolls.
Instagram trolls, aka you know who you're dealing with.
Oh, forget them.
All right, listen. If you had to get rid of one platform forever, and I mean forever, JP, would it be TikTok or YouTube? Which one?
TikTok, 100%.
Respect. JP, round 3 in the books. You did it, my man. Dude, Matt, hey, listen, I don't have to tell you this. You got mad support. You got mad love. Well over 100 likes on this episode. Mad love, bro. What do you have to say to all your supporters out there? What do you have to say to everyone who's been rooting for you this whole time?
What I have to say is why are you cutting it short if we have such good support?
It's called Valentine's Day, and my wife is hot. So I got to go. I got things to do. I wasn't even going to have this episode, but I did it because I felt like you're such a huge player to the new wave of things, bro. You are definitely a good example on what it's like to come into a new hobby, take some licks, put in some patience, and let the work do the talking. At the end of the day, bro, you are getting followed because of your content. People fuck with JP because of the animals you're producing, and that's that.
Yeah, and I guess the message I have is just to thank everybody so much for all the love and support. Like I said, the last couple of days with all of the reshares and the love I've got has been overwhelming, to say the least. You know, just seeing it really uplifted me, and it's we have some big plans this year. We have some good stuff. I'm hoping to start traveling again. I'm definitely going to Tinley in March. So if anybody's going to go to Tinley, I can't wait to start shaking. I'm not bringing a camera this time. I'm not going to be walking around, filming the whole day. I'm actually going to be like, chatting, shaking hands, and being social like a normal person instead of walking around with the camera all day. So that's going to be great. And I really appreciate the love. And to all the haters, you thought that me growing to 100K the first time was bad. Watch me do it again.
Oh, shit. JP is going to be on one. I believe in it. Here it comes. And guess what? Justin Kabelka, be ready for JP Kabelka because he's coming. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well, he got rid of the JKR, so I can be JPR now.
Oh, my God.
No, just kidding. I'm just kidding. No.
My God. Listen, I cannot wait to see you at Tinley, and we'll take it from there, man. Thank you so much. JP,
absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, have a good night, man. Hey, keep up the good fathering and keep up being a good fucking. Is that your wife? Or are you guys together? Are you guys married? Or are you guys still boyfriend, girlfriend?
We're common law. We lived together for the last 5 years.
So you're the baby's daddy, basically.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Be a good baby's daddy, man. You're killing it. Good job, man.
For sure. Thank you so much for having me on. And, hopefully we get to do it again soon.
We will, man. Thank you so much. Keep killing it. All right, JP. I'll talk to you later, bro.
Okay. Cheers, guys. Thank you, everybody.
Telling you, man, any new keeper should be excited to listen to JP's journey because it wasn't the easiest one, but I'm telling you, his hardest battles, I mean, unless he does something wrong, but he's not. I mean, he's already come a long ways, and I'm telling you right now, he's on a mission. His projects, I mean, he picked up from all the right people, and he learned from all the right people, and dude's going to be on one, man. I'm excited for JP's future here in this industry, and he's definitely a good one to have around, man. So make sure you go give him a follow. Let's go get his followers back up. Let's go prove all the haters wrong, man. We're going to get JP back to 100K in no time. So, guys, thank you so much for tapping in. We have a really big week ahead of us, okay? We have somebody so awesome that we're tapping in with this Thursday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Dude, I've been kind of I don't know. I've been kind of fucking putting in some work to try to get this girl to come on for well over a year. It was actually the last Arlington. She was sitting next to Dave Levison, and I was like, yo, can I get you on the show? And she basically told me no. Respect. A year later, met her again. It was more of a casual, like getting drunk together, and she said, yeah. Shout out to Megan Kelly. We're going to have Megan Kelly in the building. Badass female anaconda keeper / breeder coming to the Trap Talk table, and we're going to say an albino anaconda at that. How many fucking people are even working with albino anacondas? None. This is a world's first. And this is a straight girl power at its finest. She's in LA, and she'll be tapping in with us this Thursday night. So make sure you guys go down the link below, set your reminder, coolest reptile podcast in the world. And again, thank you to anyone who tapped in on this beautiful Valentine's night. I'm going to go enjoy my night with my beautiful wife. I hope you guys enjoy this night, either solo or with someone. Hey, man, sometimes being solo is the better way to be, depending on how the situation is. But I want you, no matter what, get some good food in you, smoke a good blunt for your boy MJ. Have a good night. This is your man checking out. Coolest Reptile Podcast in the world. And I'm out. Cheers.